नमस्ते विद्याओं खुश रहिए आई जे बी मुस्कान कुमारी फ्रॉम द डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी and I'm working here as an assistant professor in JVWU University and the Faculty of Education in Mumbai. So in this session today I will discuss with you the application layer protocol, what are the various protocols which is used in application layer and what are the working of that protocols. Okay, so to discuss these topics with you and very smoothly to distribute to all of you, I just want to share some files which helps you to better understand regarding this topic. Clear? And this session. So I am sharing that files. Here is the application layer protocol. Clear? So you can see here like application layer protocol. The application layer is present at the top of OSI model. It is the layer through which user interacts and it provides the services also to the user. Now, application layer protocol. Application layer protocol is what? Here is the Telnet protocol. Telnet stands for the telecommunication network. It also helps in terminal inventions and it allows the Telnet client to access the resources of the Telnet server. It also used for managing the files on the internet and it is used for initial setup of devices like the switches. The telnet command is a command that uses the telnet protocols to communicate with a remote devices also or the systems, isn't it? Port number of telnet is 23. So the commands which is used for the accessing the telnet protocols is like this one telnet and here you are writing the remote server. Yeah. So remote server is what? You are specifies the name of the servers to which you want to connect. Okay. So this is the basically working on the telnets and is about the telnet. Now if you talk about the FTP, file transfer protocol. FTP is basically stands for the file transfer protocol and it is the protocols that actually lets us transfer the files. It can facilitates you uh, to decide the in between any two machines using it. But FTP is not just a protocol, but it is also a program. Okay, and FTP promotes sharing of files via the remote computers with the reliable and efficient data transfer. Okay, port number for FTP is 20 for data and 21 for control. Okay. So the commands for the FTP will be what? FTP and they mention the machine name. Okay. Now coming to the next protocols, that is the TFTP. Tribal File Transfer Protocol is the stripped down version of FTP, but it is the protocol of choice. If you know exactly what you want and where to find it, it is a technology for transferring the files between network device and it is a simplified version of the FTP also. Okay, so the commands which will use in the TFTP is TFTP option host port number and this one is the C command. Now what is the NFS? What is the working of NFS? NFS is basically stands for the network file system and it allows the remote systems or remote host to mount file systems over a network and interact with those file systems as though they are mounted locally. This enables system administrators to consolidate resource onto the centralized servers on the network. Clear? So the commands which will be used in NFS is service NFS start. Now we will talk about the SMTP protocols. So it stands for the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It is a part of TCP/IP protocols using a process called store and forward. SMTP moves your email on and across network. It works closely with something called the mail transfer agent to send your communications to the right computer, and also in mailbox. Port number of SMTP is 25. Okay. So commands which will be used in SMTP is like mail from, and this one you can see. Okay, mail at the rate abc.com, from where the mail is going to. Now LPD. LPD is basically stands for the line printer daemon, and it is designed basically for the printer sharing. Okay, it is designed for basically to the printer sharing, and it is the part of your, it is the part that receives process the request. A daemon is a server or also maybe a set. Okay, so command which will be used here like lpd, here is d and l, and d debug output files also. Okay, now if you talk about the x window, so it defines a protocol for writing the graphical user interface which is based on the client server applications. The idea also allowed to programs called the client to run on the computers, and it is a primarily used in the network interconnected mainframes. The commands which is used in X window are protocols like run XDM in run level 5. Now, if you talk about the SNMP, it stands basically for the Simple Network Management Protocol. It gathers the data by polling the devices on the network from management stations at fixed random intervals. Okay, fixed random intervals, requiring them to disclose certain informations also. It is a way that servers can share the information about their current state, and also a channel through which an administrator can modify predefined values. Port number of SNMP is 161 for at the TCP, for the TCP, and 162 for the UDP connections. And the command which will be used in this protocol is like snmp get, here m all v1 c publics snmp agent lp address system name log 0. Okay, now DNS command is basically used for what purpose? I this all commands is the basic introduction. Okay, so it stands for the domain name system. Every time you use the domain name, therefore a DNS service must translate the name into the corresponding IP address. For example, domain name is www.abc.com, that might be translates into the 198.168.1.1, anything will be IP addresses. Port number for DNS is 53. Okay, and the command will be used in DNS for like IP configurations, IP config slash plus DNS. Okay, plus DNS. Now DHCP. DHCP is basically stands for the Dynamic Host Configuration Protocols. It gives IP address to host, and it is a lot of information in DHCP servers that can provide to a host when host is registering for an IP addresses with the DHCP server, and the port of the DHCP server will be 67 and 68. Okay, so the commands will be used in DHCP protocols is like clear IP, DHCP, binding, and addresses. Clear? So this is all about your application protocols which I have discussed with you. And again, I am just want to recall these all the protocols once again. That's fit in your mind that these all are the protocols and the responsibilities of these all protocols are these things. Okay, so just recalling that all thing once again. Okay, so if we discuss about these ones, the application layer basically what do? They basically uses the protocols that are implemented within the applications and the services, Application provides people with a create to create a message. Application layer services establish an interface to the network and protocols which provides the rules and also provides the format that govern how data is created. Okay, so a single executable program can use all three components like telnet. If you are referring these ones, then telnet application, telnet service and telnet protocols. Clear? So the basic, if you talk about the functions of the application protocol, then both source and destination devices use the application layer protocols during the communication session. For the communication to be successful, the application layer protocols implemented on the source and destination host must watch. Okay, source and destination host must match the protocols. Clear? So protocols perform some tasks like what? Establish consistent rules for exchanging data between application and service loaded on the partition, participating devices. And if you talk about the second functions, then specify how data inside the message is structured and the type of message that are sent between the source and destination. And the message can be request for services, acknowledgements, data message, status message, and error messages. Clear? So define the dialogues, ensuring that a message being sent is made by the expected response and that the correct services are involved when data transfer occurs. Many different types of application communicate through or across the data networks, and also the application layer service must implement multiple protocols to provide the desired range of communication experiences. Each protocol has a specific purpose and contain its own characteristics required to meet a purpose. The right protocol details in each layer must be followed by that the function at one layer interface properly with the services in the lower layer. Okay, so the application and services can also use the multiple protocols in the course of single conversation. One protocol might specify how to establish network connections and another might describe the process for the data transfer when message is passed to the network layer. Okay, so this is all about your application layers, their protocols and the functionality. And once again, I just tell to you all the protocols name. The telnet protocol is the part of the application layer protocols which I have discussed with you. Okay, and telnet protocol is basically use the telnet protocol to communicate with the remote devices, or the system port number of the telnet is 23. And if you talk about the FTP protocols, then FTP protocol is basically facilitates this between two machines using it. And FTP is just a protocol, but it is also a program. FTP promotes the sharing of files via remote computers with reliable and efficient data. And if we talk about the TFTP, then it is the Tribal File Transfer Protocol, which also helps in the exactly what you want and where to find it. And it is technology for transferring the files between network and simplified version. If you talk about the NFS, then it also stands for the network file system. It also allows the remote host to mount file systems over a network and interact these files with the another those files they are mounted locally. Okay, and many more protocols which I have discussed with you. The SMTP protocols, which is the simple mail transferring protocols used for the mail transferring, and this is basically happened where the mail transfer is in. And the LPD protocols, X window protocols, SNMP protocols, DNS protocols, and DHCP protocols. So many more protocols is used here. So, students, I just want to say that if you have any problem regarding this session, then please let me know about your query through which I can solve your query in the next session with more information regarding this topic or the sessions. isn't it? And please read this session with referring the multiple standard book like the frozen books, and also use the multiple website through which you can get the valuable documentations regarding this topic. Clear? And many more questions will arise through this, like define the three or four protocols of the application layer. What is the importance of telnet protocols? What is the importance of DHCP protocols? What is the working of the DNS protocol? Please explain it. So then you have to explain the concise format and concise answers in point to point for each questions. Okay, thank you.